Okay, so here we are. This is Stranded, the Australian Canadian Music and Talk Show, and our very special guest for today is Sarah Wheeler. She is a local singer-songwriter, and I'm really pleased that she's come down today. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem at all. We first really connected at the Record Store Day a month or so back, thanks to a mutual friend, David Love Jones. So you've known him for quite a while. He's a DJ at the station.
I have known him for many moons. He is an old friend of mine. We used to work in record stores together years and years ago, so that's how I know him.
Ah, yeah. Interesting, because he runs Vinyl Records, which is a fantastic place.
His shop is amazing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, David, what the heck happened here? These records have exploded. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has musicians come on and play now, which is fantastic. It's a Record Store Day, and that's where I met Sarah. And I had a chance to. I'm a beginner myself of songwriting and performing, and I got to go that, so that was great.
It was awesome. I got to hear that.
You also know someone else here, another DJ at the station.
That's right, Linda Bull.
Yeah.
I'm old friends with Linda from way back, just personal friends.
Yeah.
She's a great lady.
And she's Australian, and she does the Italian music show here on CiTR. I get the sense that you've been around the city for a long time, and you are born and bred, which is a rarity in Vancouver.
I know, one of the three people.
I think I know the two other. I think I know now the three people who are born and bred here.
Yeah.
Not only that, but you do come from a rich musical background, and in fact, your grandfather. Can you tell us a little bit about his experiences in the 50s and 60s?
That's right. Yeah, he's a jazz pianist. He passed away before I was born, so I didn't get to really talk to him. It would have been really cool. But he was a jazz pianist, and he played with like Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr., Lena Horne, lots of big names. There's a story about like my uncle when he was really young. He went to one of my grandpa's rehearsals, and he was being a little bit squirrely. He wouldn't sit still on his chair, and so they were like, sit him up on top of the piano. So he sat him up on top of the piano, still, not behaving. And so the guy who was conducting gave my uncle this little conducting baton, and he kind of chilled out and stuff like that. And the conductor was Nat King Cole. So it's kind of like
wow.
It's kind of a cool story in the family. But yeah, he played in the Cave. There's pictures in the Cave nightclub, which was like this jazz club, dance club that looked like a cave on the inside. There's really cool black and white pictures of people going out and listening to music. And back then, people would dress up to go out. So they're really cool, stylish looking pictures in this cave. Anyway, yeah. So he kind of taught my mom and there's a big family on that side. So he said they all learned to sing and they're all musical. And so my mom was a singer growing up. She wanted to become a singer, but my grandpa was like, it was a Catholic family. They're like, it was different time period. And he's like, you're not hanging out in the nightclubs. And he kind of discouraged her from following that path. But she's like a natural singer, and she just always sang with us. We always listened to music. I thought growing up, I kind of thought like a couple of songs were just like family songs that we sang. Turns out they're actually Johnny Cash songs. They're not. But I was lucky to grow up in that kind of an environment.
Yeah, and it sounds like you still have kind of family hootenannies, that kind of thing, I guess.
Yes, yes. When my family still gets, like, a lot of us all still live here, so we get together and like Christmas and holidays and stuff like that and have dinners. We usually bring out the guitars and sing. They are a boisterous group. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. They're definitely loud.
Yeah. Oh, well, great. Well, I always like to get into a song pretty early in the interviews to give people an idea of what Sarah can do with her amazing voice, accompanied by acoustic. How about we get into a track? What are you going to play for us first up?
I think I'll start with Eye for an Eye. This is a new song. People get ready. It's time to make a stand and show our love is broadband. Let us be happy, the state in which we're born, and do our duty. Listen what nature wants. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. The whole world blind. If corporations are people in society, then they must account for inhumanity. If you're black, white, brown, straight or gay, if you believe in God, or go your own way, or look into your heart, look at your family and friends, 'cause we all know we can no longer pretend. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. The whole world People get ready. It's time to make a stand and show our love is broadband. Let us be happy, the state in which we're born, and do our duty. Listen what nature wants. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. An eye for an eye just makes the whole world blind. The whole world blind.
There we go. There's a prime example for you of the great power of Sarah Wheeler's voice and also her brilliant lyrics as well. If anyone tuned in at the start of the show, you heard the great Australian punk band, the Celibate Rifles, with some wonderful social commentary. And as far as I'm concerned, what Sarah just played there had as much punch and power as a full punk band with 5 guys playing with great lyrics. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is freaking awesome.
No problem.
Yeah.
That sounded wonderful, and it just, I don't know. To me, it just sounded like a bit of a Is that one of your signature songs? Would you say? Because you packed a lot in there for not just great sound, but you're saying something. You're saying something in those lyrics. So.
I like to use it to kind of get things happening, get warmed up, get push it out there, and get the energy going because it's kind of a passionate song.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you bring that out early in your sets. Is that what you're saying? Like yeah.
Get myself a little fired up.
That's great. Yeah. So like a manifesto, Yeah. Well, wonderful. How old is that song?
That's a new one, so it's not on a recording yet. This recording I got in here is what year is that one from?
Well, Sarah Wheeler's third record came out in 2011, Out of the Woodwork, and I did notice that you recorded 2 new ones, and they're up on iTunes. So the one that was one.
I think that one isn't up on iTunes yet. This is new. So I've just been playing with a new band now this last year or so. We've got a whole bunch of new tunes, all new tunes that are not on this old recording here. It's not that old, but on this recording here.
Great. And of course, I did see you at the Chapel Arts with your new band, with the Jasmanian Devils.
Oh, those are friends of mine, Jasmanian Devils.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not my band. That's a great band. Yeah, I just met those guys, and I played a burlesque show with them. That was a hilarious show.
It was.
It was.
Yeah. And another example of how you're very well connected to the musical history, I think, of this city. Because the Jasmanian Devils, I've since learned from people like David Love Jones that they were quite an institution here in the city.
Dennis Mills.
Yeah.
He is a party unto himself.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, and it was good to have really different genres of music yourself and those guys. So it's amazing what the city has to offer. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah Wheeler. So there you go, folks. A brand new track that you won't be able to find anywhere yet recorded except here on this show and for live shows. I'm curious about your recording background. You put out 3 records. You did grow up in a very strong musical milieu. When did the idea to start recording as a solo person occur to you? When did that start?
I guess that was in early 2000s. I started recording. I guess the first album was with an earlier band that I had going on, but most of the recording was a solo, just vocal and guitar and some banjo and stuff like that, and then and a couple of tracks with a full band, and then I started playing with a band more regularly. But I've always played kind of some shows solo, I like to play with different people, and I like to play in different kind of lineups, like some solo shows, some band shows, playing with different people. I like to keep live performances like kind of electric and a little bit, alive, so you don't know exactly what's going to go on. I like to keep that feeling live because it makes it exciting for me, so I feel it gives a better performance.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's get into another track.
Sure.
Yeah. This is Sarah Wheeler, recorded live for Stranded, the Australian Canadian Music Show on CiTR Radio.
Maybe we'll do something a little more mellow. This is a song called Happy Birthday. Let's give the morning one more try. You look out your way and I'll look out mine. Sometimes we say the wrong words, sometimes we fight, but I can't imagine being anywhere but beside you every night. I've read a few stories about this type of thing. One man makes us different is what makes us the same. So let's dance through this crazy game. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. We all need to write our own battles. Two of us can lift each other back up in the saddle, but we all have to ride our own steeds. Each of us is learning things we need to be free. I've read a few stories about this type of thing. What makes us different is what makes us the same. So let's dance through this crazy game. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. Yeah, yeah. Sunlight shining out of the rain is the prettiest day. Happy birthday. Sunlight shining out of the rain is the prettiest day. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
All right, another song here live on CiTR Radio. This is Sarah Wheeler. She is a local singer-songwriter from the city of Vancouver. And happy birthday. Is there a specific moment in time that is referencing anyone's birthday, or is it a general reflection on life?
It's more of a general reflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And can that be? Is that another new one, or can that
Yeah.
be found? Yeah.
That's another new one.
Oh, excellent. Well, this is great. Another brand new song for Sarah Wheeler that you will not otherwise hear unless you go to one of her shows, of course, which there will be plenty coming up. I ask this question of just about everyone who comes in with a guitar, because I'm always wondering, is there a story behind a guitar, especially one that looks wonderful, well played, like that Gibson that you're holding.
Yeah.
Is there anything?
Yeah, this is an old guitar. It's 1950s, 52, I think. And yeah, it's pretty beaten up. It looks like it's been through the war. It's if you look through actually you can see light coming through the back of it. It's all cracked up, and it's a real little war horse. It's a little sunburst. I work in a guitar shop, so it's in a kind of an acoustic music shop, and they, every once in a while, cool old guitar. I like old guitars. It took me a while to kind of figure out what kind of guitars I like, but I really like old, beaten up guitars. And this thing came through, and I had to snag it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a Rufus's guitar shop you work at, is that right?
Yeah. It's a mom and pop shop that's been there for ages.
Where is it? in the city?
Yeah, it's kind of near UBC actually. It's around 10th and Alma. Yeah.
There's a guy we've had who also works there. He's come on here, Phil Kikuchi.
Phil.
Phil, yeah.
Yes.
He's been sitting right where you are.
Ah, Phil.
Amazing.
He is hilarious.
He is.
He is. He's got just a little bit of personality.
He does. and a little bit of skill in his finger picking.
Yeah.
He's extraordinary on guitar.
No kidding.
Yeah, well, it's so cool to see the whole picture of Vancouver slowly, making sense of all the wonderful people out there and what they're doing. Besides their songwriting duties, there is other parts of life, and it must be cool to be in that environment too.
Absolutely, yeah. There's lots of great musicians coming in and out of there.
Yeah. And speaking of which, I mean, you have been, of course, born and bred here, and music in Vancouver. Are there any people out there that you're particularly a fan of, or that you've collaborated with, things like that in the past, or anyone?
Stuff that I've collaborated with? Yeah. Right now I'm doing a little singing on Todd Fancy from the New Pornographers. I think there's a kind of a CiTR tie in there. I guess Nardwar has been affiliated with the New Pornographers for years and years, and knows all those dudes. And I've just been singing on Todd's new album that has not yet come out. And
that's another fascinating connection, is that he had some production assistance, I think, from a guy in Los Angeles, and his name Peter Foldy, and he came on this show as well and spoke about working with Todd Fancy. So there you go.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. Yeah, I've known Todd for a long time. I've recorded a little bit with him a long time ago as well. Like I sang on AC Newman, like Carl Newman's stuff from the New Pornographers. His New Pornographers. His first album. I did some backing vocals on that album, and so I just reconnected with him recently. It was really sweet.
Oh, cool.
But another one of my favorites is definitely Mark Davis. He's not from Vancouver. He's from Edmonton. I don't know if you know him. He used to sing in a band called Old Reliable. And he's a great songwriter. He and his lady, Alice Koss. Great.
Excellent. Well, this is exactly, now I'm going to find him and play his music, because it's just like doing the show, which I find fascinating, but there's so much music, and to learn about the history of Canadian music through the people who come through the show is really helpful. So
I think he's coming into town next month. I think I'm going to do a couple of shows with him, so you should come on out.
Do you know yet where? Can we tell people where that might be? Or
I actually haven't told him, so maybe I should. but I think it will come together. It'll be up on our websites. My website, maybe I should plug it, is sarahwheeler.com. It's easy to find info there.
Definitely, for upcoming shows, and also information on recordings. Sarah has 3 records out. The latest is Out of the Woodwork, on your own label, Poncho Records.
Yeah.
What would you like to comment? About? I mean, this came out a few years ago, so you've had a label for a while, and what that means for you as an independent person with their own label in the context of the music world that's kind of in chaos and breaking down and rebuilding itself. How do you?
There's a big conversation.
Yeah.
My partner had worked with a small independent label for a couple of years, and we decided to start this label together and put this record out. We haven't been like soliciting other bands and stuff like that. We were just working together to put this out. And it's. I mean, I've been playing since I was like 16 years old. So like, there's a big difference between playing music in the 90s and playing music now. There were like opportunities to actually like interact with the infrastructure of the music industry to a certain degree. I mean, Vancouver isn't a huge music town, but back then, I mean, I was just talking to a friend I play in another project with, and she used to play Knockdown Ginger and like bands that were, on Much Music and stuff like that in the 90s. And I was like, how did you guys, get your stuff out there back then? She's like, well, we had a manager and stuff. Like, now managers are not, they're non-existent except at the big, like, at the upper end of the music industry. So it's definitely more of a do-it-yourself kind of time period. But back then, I worked in record stores for years and years and years. And the first couple albums that I put out, I was lucky that I worked in those music, CD stores. I call them record stores. Music stores like A&B Sound, Virgin, and stuff like that. I was lucky because I had, connections there to put those records out, and I could get them into stores. But back then, you had to be in, indie pool or something. You had to have some kind of distribution in order to even get your music into a music store. Whereas now, and I was lucky that I could do that then. But now you can get your music out to people very easily. And it's, back then it was super expensive to record. I was really lucky to record in, Mushroom and the Factory and the Warehouse and stuff like that. But it was crazy expensive. And now, it was an awesome experience. But now you can record amazing stuff, amazing quality just in a home studio, and you can get it out to people. So that's the advantage. But the disadvantage is that everyone can do that. So the level of, there's kind of a glut of so much information. Not all music is made equal, even though I believe in, like, anyone I teach music, so I'm really getting behind, like, anyone who wants to play music and get their stuff out there. I'm behind that, and that's a positive experience. But it also makes it difficult for listeners to find stuff that's at another level,
That's right.
Yeah.
People who have committed, a huge chunk of their life and energy to doing it. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and that's actually part of my guiding philosophy here, is that identifying people who are serious about what they're doing and giving them an opportunity to.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Yes.
But this is a time period where Bob Dylan or Neil Young could release an album and we don't even really know. But Neil Young did release an album on Record Store Day that was kind of a quirky album, granted, and probably didn't get as much push as another album would. But I am, like, a fan, and I tried to find it, and it's hard to find on it's finding the information that you want that's trickier now.
Exactly. Exactly.
Back then in a record store, if you worked in a record store, there were new releases. You knew what was coming out, and now you can find those things online. But there's so many different places where you can find that music. It's not like a standardized kind of system.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, there's definitely people listening now, and they can actually go to our blog, ozstrandedradio.com, and you can find my little contribution to curating some quality music. So Sarah's the latest addition to that. So let's, how about we play at least one more song?
Let's do it.
And that would be lovely. So this is Sarah Wheeler, live in CiTR Radio Studios.
Step into the sun, step out of the shadow, and be who you are. Everybody's got something that really matters. Use this life for love. You only got one shot out of this barrel. You only ever come this way but once. If you love someone, then just don't fight it. All you gotta do is open up your heart. Open up your heart. Whoa, whoa. Open up your heart. Whoa, whoa. Roll the dice. Take your hands out for the wheel. Live your life and see how it really feels. Make your mark, 'cause you know we haven't got much time. If we keep rubbing those sticks together, we're bound to spark a fire. Don't forget one shot All you gotta